Hello everybody, this is Refresh and I am here to take a look at Game Night for Magic the Gathering. This is the 2019 edition. According to the back, it says, "Bring the magic anywhere. Game Night is a perfect way to bring the thrill of an all-out magical battle to your friends and family in one convenient box. Choose between 5 decks, one for each of Magic's iconic colors, designed for balanced, exciting gameplay in one-on-one or multiplayer matches, and start slinging some spells." It contains 5 60-card Magic decks, each with a premium foil card, 5 spin-down life counters, 5 life counter platforms, which is just a cardboard tile that you put your life counters on, 5 reference cards, 15 double-sided tokens, 20 +1/+1 counters, and a rulebook. Let's go ahead and open this up. Here is our play guide and rulebook. It's nice and thick. We'll take a look through it. Contents. Setup, how to scale the games. It also shows you how you can mix and match the different halves of the decks to form new combinations of decks so that you have a total of 15 decks amongst all of the combinations of colors that you can play. There are deck lists and information on each of the decks here. Then here is a rulebook. As with the last Game Night, this is probably one of the best rulebooks for Magic that you can get. This alone will help a lot of people play the game, whereas you can't really get this level of comprehensive rules information from your average starter deck. And so this is very good. Even if you have no experience playing Magic, this will help you a lot in getting to understand how to play the game. Here is a punch board with our platforms and our +1/+1 counters. Here are our decks in these 5 trays in this plastic insert, which also houses the 5 spin down life counters. And then this, I believe, is for all of your counters after you punch them out. And then you put these on top as a lid of sorts, I guess. Let's take a look at the decks themselves. Here's our green deck. We have a bunch of tokens. Zombies and wolves. Massive Might. Overwhelm your opponents with enormous dinosaurs. And then it gives you a rough sense of how the deck plays. On the back there is a reference card that reminds you of what happens on your turn. The foil exclusive card is an Earthshaker Giant for 4 green. You get a creature giant druid. It has trample. When Earthshaker Giant enters the battlefield, other creatures you control get +3/+3 and gain trample until end of turn. It's a 6/6. So the deck seems to be built up of 2 halves. We have M20 as half of the deck, and so half of the cards just come from that set. And then the other half of the cards appear to come from a variety of sets in the past. Although by M20 standards, these will probably be rotating shortly. That's not the purpose of this set. It's just so that these cards can be played together. And I like the design of having half of the deck be one unit that you can use the set symbol to figure out and then mix and match in between those units. Let's take a look at the red deck. The tokens include 3 dragons, which are also dinosaurs and zombies. Draconic Fury says, "Burn away early threats and let your dragons rule the battlefield." So this is a dragon deck. Again, information about the deck. It's not a dragon, but our foil premium card is a Fiendish Duo. 4 red. You get a creature devil with first strike. If a source would deal damage to an opponent, it deals double that damage to that player instead. And it's a 5/5, so it is a damage doubler. And that is the deck. Here's our black deck, Endless Hordes, master death as your zombie hordes overcome all obstacles. We have some more zombie tokens and wolf tokens. Our foil premium card is a Calculating Lich. It is 4 black for a creature zombie wizard. Menace, whenever a creature attacks one of your opponents, that player loses 1 life, so it increases the damage. And then you have a 5/5. There's the black deck. Here's the white deck. Glorious Combat. Power up your creatures by attacking early and often. 3 soldiers, which are also dinosaurs on the back. Our foil premium is a Highcliff Felidar for 5 white. You get a creature cat beast with vigilance. When Highcliff Felidar enters the battlefield, for each opponent, choose a creature with the greatest power among creatures that players control. That player controls, destroy those creatures. So it's like a mini Wrath on a stick, and it's a 5/5. Here's the white deck, and finally the blue deck. 3 zombies, which are also dragons and soldiers on the other side. It says Aerial Acrobatics, says defend yourself with spells while your creatures fly to victory. Our foil premium card is Sphinx of Enlightenment. It is 4 blue for a creature Sphinx with flying. When Sphinx of Enlightenment enters the battlefield, target opponent draws a card and you draw 3 cards. And it's a 5/5. So there's some card draw attached here for yourself and an opponent. Those are all the decks. As you can see, there's no room here for sleeved cards, so I find that this insert is pretty useless, and I'm probably going to chuck it like I did for the last game night. But those of you who don't sleeve your cards, and it shudders for me to think about that, but if you don't, this is going to be a handy holder for your cards. Alright, I'm going to try this game night out and pit these decks against each other, and I will be back to let you know what I think. So I've had a chance to play around with the Game Night 2019 edition a bit, and I have some thoughts. The first thing is that, like the previous edition, this play guide and rulebook is fantastic. I don't think that there is a better boxed product from Magic the Gathering that teaches you how to play the game and gives you a reference for so much of the rules that you can probably just look at this booklet and figure out over time, or with the guidance of somebody else, how to play Magic the Gathering. It's all in here. And so I think that this makes this product a fairly good starting point, but there are some downsides to this product compared to its predecessor, and that mostly comes in the form of these decks. Specifically, the white deck may be the worst of the bunch because the deck doesn't curve very well, especially because of the presence of the Zetalpa Primal Dawn. Like, that card is very strong, and I could understand why Wizards put that card in this deck, but at 8 mana with no ramp, the white player will almost never get casted in most games, and consequently I feel like the white deck in particular suffers because of this. There are some decent synergies in here, but also the presence of the Renown mechanic means that there's just a little bit more rules overhead to pay attention to, and I don't like that either. And I think that that was put in this deck so that it could match up with perhaps the green deck when you do the half deck slice. And I can respect the desire for that, but I think that the deck's theme is just not strong enough. And similarly, the blue deck has this spells matter theme, but you really need to get spells in your graveyard for it to be worthwhile. And can the deck really hold up while it's doing that? It doesn't seem that well thought out. I think the other 3 decks are a little bit stronger, and I think that the blue and the white decks are the weakest of the bunch. as a result, I don't know that I like this particular set of decks as well as the previous set of decks, and I kind of wish that these decks all, instead of taking the other cards from Magic's past, really just focused on the themes present in Magic 2020 and used those instead, so that the themes would be a lot more friendly to beginners and that the decks would actually fall right into what is current in Magic, and so that players could pick it up, look at the cards, and then go pick up more cards and see the cards and themes that fit, and then upgrade these decks if they decide that they want to. Now, this is still a decent beginner's project, even though these two decks are somewhat weaker than the other decks, and that's because it gives you pretty much everything you need to play right in the box. You have all the counters, you have ways of keeping track of life here, you have tokens for everything that the deck makes. The only thing that I still find completely superfluous are these platforms to put your life total on, because I mean the dice already do that and you can know that that's supposed to track your life, and so these are just completely superfluous and I don't really like them. I'd rather just have more counters or something else to help with the tracking of life. Aside from that, I think that this is still a decent product for beginners. I don't think that this really measures up to the past product, although this play guide is slightly better in terms of the information that's provided. So I like that, but I just wish that the decks were better, that the selection of cards used for the decks were a little bit stronger and more up to date, and so players could really pick up this box and get right into Magic the Gathering. But that is it in terms of this product. If you can find the previous game night, I would suggest picking that up instead at this point. But this is fine for Magic the Gathering in a box and a decent way to learn how to play or to teach others how to play as well. And that is my thoughts for the 2019 edition of Game Night. If you have any experience with this product, let us know what your thoughts are in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button. If you'd like to see more of these videos, you can hit subscribe. This was Refresh. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.